guys, we're going to start on the Cryptothralls with all of the soft black. Now there's only two locations. We've got the neck bit here, and we've got this large part of the spinal column just here. Now the colour we're going to be using for this is Terradon Turquoise, and this is our first colour before we establish the metallic black, which is a different colour entirely. And if you've seen my Necron Warriors video or the Illuminor Xerath video, you'll know where this is going. So we apply this Terradon Turquoise all over these details. Like this. Once that Terradon Turquoise is dry, we're going to use some thinned down Iron Warriors, and this is to paint in all the parts that are going to be industrial black, such as the joints on his arms and legs, but also all of the silver details as well. So we're just going to paint this Iron Warriors all over this like that, and the silver details are things like the blades, and his main carapace, like up here. And next up, once all that Iron Warriors is dry, we're going to use some black Templar, and this is to cover in all of the black details. So this is all the places that we want to be industrial black. So things like the joints of the armor, like this. And we also want to use this to colour in all of those black, soft black details, like the cables. And what we want to, the cables in the spinal column. And what we want to do with this black Templar is, rather than apply it all over, we just want to apply it on the flats. These sections, like this, just leaving bit of that Terradon Turquoise shining through on the edge to give us our edge highlight. So once again, just along here, and then once again along the side as well, like that. And next up, we want to use some thinned down Runelord Brass. And this is to paint in all the remaining armor panels. So places like his face, his legs, the inner workings of his body, all of it. Just want to get a good coating of this all over. And once that Runelord Brass is dry, we're going to take some Sycorax Bronze. I'm going to use this just to strengthen up certain areas of that colour. So we just want to do it where the light would catch. So it's almost effectively like a really big highlight. Kind of like that on the face and on the outside of the arm. Similarly here. And next up, we're going to do something very similar with this kind of the silver details. We only want to do this on the top carapace and on the blade. And what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down iron hand steel, and then we're just going to basically apply this over the top of that Iron Warriors like this. We just want to leave where we want the shade to settle. So basically painting the flat like that, and then leaving this kind of concave inside here, and then painting a little bit of iron hand steel across that top bit there. Doesn't matter if this is 100%, not 100% perfect. But the reason we're going to do this is because when we shade it, we want kind of two different vibes from the shade as we put it on. So you just want this iron hand steel over the top just to be nice and bright. I want to do the same thing on here as well. Like that. And similarly along the blade. But just along the blade, we don't need to do this on the mechanical part. Around there. And next up, we're going to apply some shade to those metallics now. So the colour that we're going to make is a roughly 6 parts contrast medium, 1 part Aggaros Dunes, and 1 part Wyldwood. I should say that again. 6 part contrast medium, 1 part Aggaros Dunes, and 1 part Wyldwood. And this is going to create a nice little kind of warm glaze for us to use. And we're going to use this all over the bronze that we've painted. So all over that Runelord Brass and all over that Sycorax Bronze. Like that, and it just creates this really lovely warm bronze tone. Now on the silver up here, and this is just on the carapace, what we want to do is we basically want to apply this mix to all the recesses. Like this. We don't want to do this all over because we want it to be just quite bright. We do want to make sure that we get a nice build up of it in there in that concave. Like that. We can just smooth that out a little bit. Like so. This just gives the impression of the kind of the dirt having built up in these areas. Make sure we get a good amount of it in those vents, make them nice and dark. And similarly inside that battle damage. Like that. And then what you can do is you can kind of just like stipple bits of it all over in certain parts, just to kind of give it a different texture here and there. As you can see, we've got this kind of really lovely, bright, but sort of dirty looking silver. And it's just for up here. So the rest of it we're going to do with Basilicanum grey. So we're just going to continue like this. Putting this all over like that. And then we will come back. And with that done, as you can see, it's starting to look pretty freaking awesome. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is we're just going to shade all of the silver details, and we're going to be using Basilicanum grey for this. And so the silver details are everything that we've not already done, so areas like the blades, And with all that shading applied, we've now got a really awesome looking Cryptothrall. So now what we need to do is brighten back up those areas just a little bit by applying some highlights. Now the colour we're going to use, and this is for most of the highlights, is Iron Hand Steel. Now what we want to do is we want to use this to highlight all of the silver details by picking out the edges like this. But we also want to use this Iron Hand Steel to highlight all of those industrial metal, industrial black bits. So all of those original Iron Warriors bits that we then covered over with the Black Templar. Just want to go around picking out all of these details. And then we'll come back. And with those silver highlights applied, you can now see the models really starting to come together. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight all of the bronzy, brassy areas with some of the new Canoptek Alloy. I really struggle to say that with this paint. Canoptek Alloy. Yeah, so we're just going to use this to apply some edge highlights to all of these brass areas. And with that Canoptek Alloy applied, oh, for goodness sake, I did so well with Canoptek. Anyway, with that Canoptek Alloy applied, we're now going to finish off the miniature by doing the glowing green gem here, the cable, and the big green glowy thing in the middle. So the colour that we're going to be using first is Corax White. We've got some thin down on our palette. And what we want to do is we basically just want to make sure that this area is nice and bright by just giving it a couple of coats, if it needs it, of this Corax White all over, like this. And similarly, we want to do this on the orb for his eye. And on this smooth cable. And once that Corax White is dry, we're going to take some Tesseract Glow and we're going to paint this all over these areas. So we just want to grab a fair amount of this on our brush and just work it in all over. If you catch the edges slightly, that's okay. This paint is designed to make the glow look pretty much perfect. These new paints are amazing, honestly. Similarly on the cable. And on the large orb. And next up for the small orb for his eye, just want to take, once again, a small amount of Corax White and just apply it to the middle like that. And lastly, just to finish him off, we want to take some Warp Lightning, just a little bit. And we basically want to apply this to the base of the cable. And like that to the other side as well, just so you get that kind of those green transitions going on. Similarly on the other side, a bit to the base and a bit to the other side, like that. And what you can do if you really want to, just apply a bit of warp lightning to the recess around the large glowing orb. And with that, the Crypto Thrall is now complete, and all that remains to do is the base. Now, I'm not going to go into full details of how I do the base here, because I've already done that in the How to Paint the Necron Warriors video. But I think you'll agree that the Crypto Thrall looks amazing. And it's, I always find, like, when you're painting an army, that the easiest thing to do is to not like put as much effort into like the minions, such as the Crypto Thralls, or like the Armorium Cherubs for the sisters, and things like that. When actually, sometimes they are just the thing that really makes it. Yeah, so I hope you enjoy this one, and I'll see you when I come back with the finished product.
The murder bucket is finished. What an awesome minion. This with the scarabs and the plasma side, you just get so much bang for your buck with the new Necrons. There's just so much character in them, and loads of people point to these as being their favourite. I'm close to thinking they're my favourite, although maybe the Reanimator has still got that position. Yeah, unless there's a way to field like 100 of these, they might not take my top spot for favourite Necron. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to support me further, like these legends on the screen, you can do so. Head to patreon.com/warhipster or head to ko-fi.com/warhipster. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Do all of that good stuff. And if you want to be kept up to date, make sure to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.